My mom had me when she was pretty young. My mom at that time, she was a drug addict. My mom had remarried when everything kind of just started to fall apart in our family. I was abused by my stepdad a lot ever since I was like really little. My stepfather, he always told me like, I'm only allowed to go to school and then I come straight home. So when I grew up, I was like, I'm gonna leave high school and I'm gonna go to college in Seattle. I'm gonna get away from him and get away from all the chaos that I was living at. So when I had first moved to Seattle and I started college out there, I wasn't having to look to my dad like, hey, can I go and do this? Hey, can I go and do that? I had never used drugs. I had never drank ever, you know? And so having that freedom when you go to college and like people start experimenting, I wanted to be accepted. I wanted to be free and I wanted to be able to talk to people. I wanted to have friends. So I ended up getting into like pretty hard drugs after a while because I just didn't want to feel the pain anymore. For me, you know, drugs was like it's a coping mechanism to accept like what had been going on my whole life. I became really depressed. I stopped going to school. I ended up having to, you know, be kicked out of college. And that was really traumatic for me because like everything just went into shambles. Eventually I became homeless. The only items that I ever had was like this broken down suitcase and I'd be wheeling it down, you know, downtown Seattle looking for food. I went from like one food bank to the next. And at that point I was, you know, bouncing from like one homeless shelter to the next, not feeling safe at some of those places. I guess my life had to get a little more rough for me to understand, like, you need to stop, like, you need to get help. You know, I was ready to reach out for help. I went to this women's shelter. I got clean, and it was the hardest thing I've ever done. I just kept fighting because I wanted to live and I wanted that new way of living. Charlie and we met when I was around 6 months sober, and I think he had 9 months sober himself.
So when I met Viviana, we were both in treatment, and so I had met her at church, and that was the first place that I had seen her, and so we were both really new in our sobriety and pretty new in our programs that we were working. And then later on, we just kind of started hanging out more and more.
We got pregnant really fast. It was very early in sobriety, very early in our relationship as a couple. Honestly, we didn't start to get to know each other until like after we found out we were pregnant. And so everything completely changed because I wasn't just looking for a place for myself anymore. Like Charlie and I knew that we wanted to be a family, that we wanted to raise our unborn son together. I was like, how do I take care of, you know, this innocent being that is going to be my child when I'm living, you know, in a homeless shelter and I'm a recovering addict. I had nothing. It was so scary. Like Hunter was going to be born in a couple months, and I was so like worried about like where am I going to bring my son to after the hospital. So there was just so much going on, you know, and I knew that we couldn't do it by ourselves. We needed a lot of support, a lot of help. I heard about Vision House that there was like program for like a married family, and so we applied for Vision House. So we were brought into Vision House pretty easily, and I think I just cried because I wanted that so bad. Is I wanted to keep a family together, you know. I wanted something that I never had when I was growing up, and it was finally happening. We just love the case management here, and we have somebody that we could go to if we had like worries or problems or anxieties or, you know, all those questions. It's like we had somebody to go to. Vision House provides, you know, classes, cooking skill classes, and I used to love that. And I think about like the parenting classes, like we didn't know what good parenting looks like. I'm just like forever grateful.
First started talking about having my own business, my own cleaning, janitorial business. My case manager kept reaffirming to, you know, just take that step and, you know, if that's really what you want, go for it. And it just started slowly unfolding into a reality. Just really am very grateful and thankful for Vision House. Now we have a completely different outlook upon life and where we're going to go and what we can accomplish. I was just given so much from Vision House, and I'm forever grateful.